Hey Latchkey Kids, I decided to drop another video outside of the 12 days of Christmas to talk about Bird Box. But before I talk about Bird Box, I have to talk about A Quiet Place because the obvious comparison is there. I actually watched A Quiet Place months and months and months ago, but I didn't record a review for it. I didn't even put up my notes for a review on my website. To get through this faster than I normally would, I'm going to just read my notes verbatim, how I wrote them as I watched A Quiet Place. Why is she pregnant? They literally could have gotten everything they needed in a pharmacy. Condoms, female condoms, a sponge, diaphragm, spermicide, etc. Babies make noise. Good luck with that. This movie doesn't work for me as set in the USA. They should have set it in another country where you couldn't buy guns and ammo at the Walmart. Let some creatures like that come down here. Bubba, Jim Bob, and them boys gonna get in their mud-bogging monster trucks with their AR-15s and some Molotov cocktails. Bless these creatures' hearts if they went to Chicago, South Central LA, Miami, or New Orleans. Some people literally have those rocket launcher things like Homeboy had in Death Wish 2. You would actually be safer in the hood. Bars on the windows and doors actually benefit people in these types of situations. In New Orleans, not only would they stretch those creatures, they would invent a new type of seafood stew with them. Why is the mom teaching the son algebra? Teach him some tactical combat training. I'm sorry, but I do not believe that the last family would be this family over a family that has an arsenal. Kind of like if you remember the original Trimmers, that couple that had all those guns, those are the people that would be more likely to survive in this situation. Oh, that was only 20 minutes in? I just noticed in my notes. 20 minutes in and I'm literally aggravated by this movie. I thought it would be better, but no, everyone is making stupid choices. Kid hears monster, he runs to the cornfield, making more noise than he would have made just standing still in the path. I used to podcast in my house, and I made my office into like an enlarged booth with foam, egg crates, and comforters on the wall. Imagine doing that, but in a basement. I think you'd be pretty good to go. Anyway, the creature design is pretty cool. I was bored and I wanted to play a game on my phone. So you want to tell me with all the military intelligence, all the university research facilities, etc., no one could figure out that the creature's weakness was just a noise frequency. Lame. Actually wrote that. L-A-M-E. Lame. Then, wouldn't the safest place be the nursing homes because a lot of people have hearing aids? And then I wrote meh, the actual word M-E-H, meh. That concludes my TED Talk about A Quiet Place. Now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about Bird Box. When I saw the trailer for Bird Box, I thought, oh, it's like A Quiet Place except for you can't look instead of you can't talk. Then I heard that besides the whole blindfold thing, that it was a totally different type of story. This turned out to be true. This is a much different movie from A Quiet Place and a much better movie in my opinion. It's way better written. It's a smarter movie. Also, the other thing that attracted me to this movie was the cast. I'm lukewarm on Sandra Bullock. She's just okay for me, but I really like Sarah Paulson. John Malkovich is always good and stuff. Rel is pretty good. I need to learn what his full name is because I know his comedian stage name is Little Rel. Even Machine Gun Kelly did all right in this for his, I don't know if this is his first role, but this is the first role I saw him in. He did pretty well in this. Oh, and I forgot about B.D. Wong, and shout out to him for actually being able to play a gay character, seeing as he is gay in real life, but I think in previous films I've seen him in, he had played straight character, so it's really cool to see him get to actually play a gay character. Rel's character was extremely interesting in this because he was able to explain some things about different mythologies. Some of the mythologies that he mentioned were Akamana, Devas, Zoroastrian, Surgat. He also mentions Huli Jing from China and Puka from the Celtic mythology, which I'll probably get more in depth into when I do a spoiler review for this film, because those mythologies are very interesting. I actually quite liked how this was told in a non-linear way. It kept it from being boring. As seeing as this was over just a little over 2 hours long, it didn't feel 2 hours long. The story's pacing was really good, and it kept moving, and it didn't lose its momentum, because just when you would think it would start to lose its momentum, it would jump to a different point in time. That kept it very interesting. The characters were also very interesting. One thing that I get a little annoyed at when I watch ensemble cast horror movies, which a lot of times are like zombie movies or infection movies, or even the cabin in the woods genre where it's a group of friends, anything where it's a group of people. A weakness that some horror movies have is making the characters uninteresting, boring, or unlikable. In this, they did not do that. They made each of the characters fleshed out enough for you to kind of care about them. Even the characters that you're not meant to like, you still see a little bit of a duality in them. Like, no one is 100% bad. The character development was really strong. The relationships that the characters developed with each other were realistic. The conversations that they had with each other felt realistic and believable. And that's another pet peeve of mine, when people have these conversations that are not believable. Perfect example. There's Sarah Paulson's character is the sister of Sandra Bullock. We get that they're sisters through their interaction with each other, how they speak to each other. That's good writing. I've mentioned before in other reviews about bad writing, where the writer will write in the dialogue a stupid ass line like, "That's why we're sisters." No one says that. No one speaks this way to their sibling. It's just, it's lazy writing. They didn't do that with this movie at all. This was very tense. The suspense was killing me sometimes. There was a reveal in this, how do I say this without describing what it is? A character has something that the other characters don't know that they possess, and there is a reveal of these things that this character has in their bag. I'll say that, yeah. Those things that were in the bag really kind of hit me in the stomach. It was like a gut punch to the stomach, the way that they were presented. We'll say it's that, so I'm not totally ruining the experience. But even the tension of that scene was nothing compared to the scene involving a journey on a boat. There's a scene that's very tense, and you really feel like, are they going to make it or they're not going to make it? And then in the end, I actually cried. I teared up and cried. First, I got choked up regarding the actual bird box, and then something involving names. And I just was tears. It was giving me all kinds of emotions and feels. This was directed by Susan Beer. The screenplay was done by Eric Heiser and based on a novel by John Hallerman. All this was just done. So, Susan Beer did an amazing job directing this. The writing from Eric Heiser was also really, really well done. A lot of what you saw, the cinematography, beautiful. And the director of photography for this was Salvatore Totino. This was very cinematic. I felt like almost cheated that this was on Netflix and not in a movie theater. The production designer was Jan Rolfs. I had to mention that because this didn't have too many settings, but the settings that they used were, they looked realistic. It didn't take you out of the film. Everything looked as you would think it would in that type of situation, should it ever occur. Same thing with the clothing. So I have to mention a costume designer, and I need to get better about that. I have been lacking on mentioning the set designers and costume designers, and the better the costume designer is, kind of, the less you almost notice them, because they do it so well that you just accept what you see on the screen. And I think I didn't say the costume designer's name is, I don't know whether I can, pronounce this. I will put it on the screen because I'm not sure how to pronounce this. I should have went to Google and had Google Translate tell me how to say it. But I think the last name is Sedgeland. The VFX supervisor was Marcus Taormina, and I have to definitely give like props to how everything looked. There's some scenes that do involve some CGI, but it's so subtle and it just works so well. I was surprised to find out that the music was done by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. You know Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails. I'm not familiar with Atticus Ross. Maybe someone in the comments, if you're familiar with Atticus Ross, tell me who he is. Because I should have Googled that before I started recording, but I'm a lame, so this is... I should have Googled that before I started recording. I completely forgot about it. My apologies. I have to say, to date, this is the best Netflix movie that I have seen so far, and I've seen quite a few Netflix movies. I'm sure some of you saw my review of Open House, which was trash garbage. Beautiful cinematography, amazing score, garbage-ass story. What else I saw? I saw the I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House, which should be called I Am the Boring Thing That Took an Hour and a Half of My Time, that I'll never get back. I saw Apostle. Fast forward through the first 40 minutes and then just watch the end of it and you'll have a good time. But the whole beginning of it, I don't even know what type of story it was trying to tell. Like, I feel like it maybe had 15 minutes worth of short story or a short segment in an anthology, and it just stretched it out to feature length. That's how it felt. It felt like there wasn't enough material. I feel like I am forgetting one. A Netflix horror movie. If I reviewed another Netflix horror movie that I am not thinking about right now, remind me in the comments. But those are the ones that I remember out of the Netflix horror movies that I've seen. Wait, there was another one. What was it called? Some guys went on a camping trip because one of their friends was a punk ass that got the other one killed in a robbery at a convenience store, or was it a liquor store? I don't know. These guys went in the woods and there was a big creature and a bunch of flashbacks. That's my description of the movie. I know, I'm pretty sure I reviewed this movie, but I can't remember the name of it. Big creature in the woods. Yeah. Big Creature in the Woods was okay, but this was better than Big Creature in the Woods. Someone please tell me in the comment section what movie I'm talking about that I reviewed and can't remember the name of it, because it was so memorable, obviously. Aside from that, this, like I said, this was masterfully done. It makes me want to read the book that it was based on. And like I said earlier, at a running time of just over 2 hours, it never felt overly long, and it used the time wisely. I really, really recommend it. I also recommend you look up the Bird Box Challenge and see how ridiculous people are online. It's hilarious. Except for the one where the little baby walked into the wall. I feel like that baby might be traumatized because that's too young. That was a barely walking baby. That was maybe a 1-year-old. Maybe only 10 months old. But the baby was in a blindfold and walked into the wall. And I said, oh, this poor baby. The baby didn't know that was going to happen. You're traumatizing your child for jokes on the internet. Don't do that. Well, maybe that was a babysitter or an older sibling. I hope that wasn't a parent doing that for shits and giggles for the internet, because you're dead wrong for that. But the other Bird Box challenges were hilarious. That said, like I always say, just because I love something doesn't mean you won't hate it, and just because I hate something doesn't mean you won't love it. Did you see Bird Box? If you didn't, what's wrong with you? If you did, what did you think about it? Let me know in the comments. Bye.